Who had a worst weekend, Mike Vrabel or Clay Thompson? It's an interesting question. You let me know down below. Let's get into this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, this is probably going to be a very short episode. I just recorded for 50-something minutes, and apparently there was something wrong with the recording and lost all of it. Literally went on like a 50-minute rant about the NFL draft, the NBA playoffs, et cetera, et cetera. So I apologize, my boys. That's on me. That's on my equipment. I'm also getting a little bit sick, so I'm a little bit agitated. So I'm just going to run through the NFL draft. This is not what I really wanted to do, but got to do it. Content's content. Wanted to talk about the draft and stuff, but clearly all that footage is gone. But I guess I shouldn't have made that Vrabel and Clay Thompson joke. That's on your boy, I guess. Let's just get into it. Let me repeat or summarize most of the things I talked about an hour ago, I suppose. Winners and losers of the NFL draft. Kind of hard to say who's a winner and loser when we don't really know how these players are going to play in the NFL or how they're going to develop in the NFL. I don't really like calling it that. I do have picks that I liked more than others. For example, you could explain it to me 1,000 ways why the Rams selected Ty Simpson. I get it. They're preparing for the future, but I really did think Mekhi Lemon was the guy that should have went for. If you want to talk about the future, talk about the future of the wide receiver position, because Devontae Adams is going to be 34 next season. Puka's been crashing out constantly. The headlines haven't been good. He's becoming an off-field liability. Now, I know he's seeking help. He's in rehab. That's none of my business. I just hope the guy gets the help that he needs to go back to being one of the best wide receivers in the National Football League. But if you add somebody like Mekhi Lemon to that trio, and you got to remember, Puka dealt with injuries last year. Devontae was pretty banged up towards the end of last season and in the playoffs. And Matthew Stafford still delivered an MVP season. Matthew Stafford is, 3-4 months removed from winning MVP at the NFL Honors Show. To pick a quarterback, and then, by the way, it's already been reported that the Rams are already in negotiations of a contract extension for Matthew Stafford. So you selected a guy that has 15 career starts. I know Dan Orlovsky's been pushing the hell out of the Ty propaganda, and I get it. Same agency. We're not stupid. But at the same time, this kid only has 15 career starts. So when Dan's out there saying, we don't know how good he can be, we also don't know how bad he can be. He just doesn't have enough reps. And the only person that's had less reps than him that's ever been drafted this early in a first round was Anthony Richardson Sr. And we saw how that played out with the Colts. And before that, it was Trey Lance. And we saw how that played out with the 49ers. And before that, it was Mac Jones. And we saw how that played out with the Patriots. Now, that's not saying Ty might still be great. He might step up and he might learn. But if this is a team that has Super Bowl aspirations and the Super Bowl is in SoFi, and the last time the Super Bowl was in LA, the Rams won it all. This is a team that's whole mantra when they won the last Super Bowl, and excuse my language, was fuck them picks. That's what they were saying. And now you're using picks to plan not for this year and maybe not even next year, but maybe the following year, when I feel like next year's draft has way more talent at the quarterback position. And again, I know Dan Orlovsky was on ESPN and on social media saying that, what rookie is going to really change things for the Rams and make them an even better team to win the Super Bowl. I feel like it would have been Mekhi Lemon. It could have been Reuben Bain Jr., who was a fantastic selection by the Buccaneers. Him falling to 15 to them was a blessing in disguise. Mekhi Lemon going to Philly jumping Pittsburgh while Pittsburgh's on the phone with the kid and them getting him. Now they could break up with AJ Brown and I guess send him to the Patriots. I don't know how many more dinners Adam Schefter has to go with Vrabel to find that information out, but we're all assuming that that's what's going to happen. I think Schefter said today that it looks like it's going to be for a 2028 first round pick for AJ Brown. I don't like what the Niners did either. I thought they reached a lot. I talked about this on the pod that I recorded earlier that you guys will never see the light of day, apparently. I really like that Niners reporter calling out Lynch and Shanahan and being like, why do you guys suck at drafting?
John, your draft board seems to deviate quite a bit from the consensus. Uh, why are you confident with that, given your track record drafting the last few years? It seems like it leads to you making reaches.
Well, I appreciate that you think that. Depends whose consensus. We got consensus in this building. That's the that's the consensus I care about.
Every year, you guys just reach. I love that, man. The props to that reporter. I don't know your name, but I will look for it and give you the credit that you deserve because, yeah, reporters should have, the gall to ask these guys, what were you thinking? What was the game plan here? So props to him. I thought that was hilarious content. I just thought it was funny. I'm still reeling, my boys. I'm reeling from the fact that I just lost all that footage. Anyways, I didn't like what the Jaguars did. I thought they reached a lot. I thought they had one of the worst drafts, if not the worst draft of all the teams in the NFL. I thought they did really, really bad. Loved, of course, what my Raiders did. We now have a franchise QB. We got McCoy in the third round, an absolute steal, insane value. This is a guy before his knee injury, which forced him to miss all of last year's college season, was a top 10 pick potentially, and a lot of people viewed him as the best graded player coming into this draft. Obviously, injuries took that from him, but now he has a chance to really reintroduce himself and show the league that, hey, man, you guys should have picked me way sooner than where I got selected at. And the Raiders desperately needed secondary help. Their cornerbacks the last few years, their DBs have just been awful, man. It has not been a great secondary. The only other team that had a worse secondary were the Jets. And I think the Raiders did a really good. Mike Washington Jr., I think he's a great number two with Genti. He fits Kubiak's system. So I think Spytek had a fantastic weekend. Spytek has had a fantastic couple of months when it comes to landing Kubiak, hit the free agency frenzy, getting back Max Crosby, drafting Fernando, drafting Mike Washington, drafting who they drafted. I think the Raiders have had an A, I won't say A plus, I'll say a solid A offseason, and they're building their own identity, which is something that's always been missing with the Raiders. The Raiders' identity has just been so suspect because they want to adopt the Patriots way and bring in McDaniels and Garoppolo. That failed. They want to do the Seahawks way and bring in Gino and Pete Carroll and Pete Carroll's son to coach the offensive line. That didn't work. So it's time for the Raiders, who are one of the most iconic franchises in NFL history, in the words of Fernando Mendoza, to build their own identity again, bring back the autumn win, and be the Raiders. You don't need to be anybody else. Be the Raiders. Create your own identity. And I feel like we're starting to see those pieces all come together to create what I think will be a sufficient and actual NFL competent team, which is crazy. As a Raider fan, that's all I want, man. I'm tired of being the laughing stock of the NFL, man. I don't want to be in that position anymore. I want to see my team in the playoffs. I want to see my team compete. I want to see my team contend. I haven't seen my team in the Super Bowl since the early 2000s, 2003, when we got smacked by Gruden and the Buccaneers. Man, I want to see this team compete again. I want to see this team compete for Super Bowls. It's one of the most iconic franchises ever. And now you have Fernando Mendoza, who has a system in place that will make him better. With Kirko, with Tom Brady, with Kubiak there, with Bowers and Myers as his tight ends, Genti, now Mike Washington, Trey Tucker. I still think they're missing another wide receiver. I don't know if they should trade for A.J. Brown. That was being floated out there for the last few days. But I do think at some point they should probably check in on George Pickens. I would. If I were them, I would call Jerry World, be like, hey, man, what do you want for George Pickens? Not Max Crosby, but what are we willing to do here to potentially get George Pickens to the Raiders? I think Pickens would be great for that offense, for Kubiak's offense, for Mendoza. I would love to see that happen. I also loved what the Browns did. That's 2 years in a row, man, that the Browns have had a stellar draft. They're running that team competently as well. And I'm sure Browns fans, as Raider fans, we're just not used to it. And we're also kind of like waiting for something bad to happen. It's just always like, I don't want to celebrate too much because if I do, this whole thing's going to fall apart and we're screwed. I 100% understand that, my boys, but you got to give Browns their props. They've added talent on defense. Last year, they added talent with offense with Judkins and Fannin. This year, they had another fantastic draft. I think the Browns, they're building something. They're building something very nice, very serious. I think Cleveland, they're starting to get their ways. And I know this is going to be the year that you could truly evaluate Shedeur Sanders. I don't feel like last year he had enough time to really be evaluated, and you don't know what you have there. Obviously, Dylan Gabriel stinks. Deshaun, I mean, who knows? And they did draft another quarterback, which is interesting to me. I did not expect them to carry 4 quarterbacks. I know they did last year, but like Watson doesn't count. He's been out for a while. But anyways, yeah, I liked what the Bears did. I thought the Bears had a fantastic pick. The Jets, I don't know, man. The Jets were weird. I don't know why they took a tight end when they drafted Mason Taylor last year. It feels like the Jets are just picking up what they can pick up, not for this season, not for Geno Smith, but for whatever quarterback they get next draft. If it's Dante Moore, if it's Arch Manning, I feel like that's what they're mostly building towards. It's not for anything to happen this upcoming season. It's mostly for, hey, who are we going to get as a quarterback, and who could we get that quarterback so he could throw to and have in his offensive game plan for the following season. So yeah, I also liked what the Giants did. I think you got to protect Jackson Dart and Scatterboo. I know Giants fans wanted Caleb Downs. I get that, but I think you got to protect Dart, and I think they got Reese early at pick 5. I think that was fantastic for their defense. And then the Cowboys, man, trading up for Caleb Downs was super, super smart. Caleb Downs might go down as the best pick in this entire draft. He might be the best player of the draft, in my opinion. They needed it. They have done a good job taking what they got from the Micah Parsons trade and using the money and the assets to add multiple players to their defense. Like, obviously, we know their offense is a humming machine. The offense is what it is. But defensively, they needed these pieces. And I think Caleb Downs, he makes that secondary way, way better. Loved what the Cowboys did. Again, loved what the Eagles did. But yeah, it was an interesting draft. And again, I will say, I don't think it was the most talented draft. I think that was the hard thing about this draft class, that it was so all over the place that teams were going to reach. Like, I felt like the Seahawks reached when they took their running back with the last pick of the first round. I thought they could have traded down and possibly got that same player. He was the RB2 in Notre Dame behind Love. I worry for Love and Carson Beck because, yeah, look, okay, Cardinals have the weapons. They have Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, Michael Wilson. Shout out to Michael Wilson. You're probably the biggest reason why I made the fantasy playoffs last year. He's a stud, dude. He's a great wide receiver. He looked like wide receiver 1 last year with Jacoby Brissett. But that offensive line stinks. And I don't expect Love to really be an offensive player of the rookie of the year candidate, because to me, I view him in a similar situation that Genti was in last year. Absolutely talented, has all of the attributes to become one of the best running backs in football. But the situation that they are in is going to kind of stop that from happening, which is interesting too. I did not expect the Cardinals to go running back. I know Love is too good to pass, but they still have Connor. I believe they just signed Tyler Algier during free agency frenzy. So like Algier is like a decent back. And I know Connor is injury prone as hell, and they probably just don't want to pay him by releasing him. But yeah, man, interesting decision making over there in Arizona. I didn't really love what they were doing over there, but it might work out at some point. Carson Beck, they have 2 quarterbacks that have weapons to throw to, at least. It's not like either quarterback is going into a situation. Now, they're going to have to run for their lives. They're not going to have any time in the pocket whatsoever, but at least if they kind of throw it quickly, they got 3 guys that they could absolutely throw to, and McBride, Harrison Jr., and Wilson. But yeah, man, it was an interesting draft. Again, I think I hate doing the winner loser thing because we just won't know. There's certain picks I like, there's certain picks I hated. Again, I think Cowboys, I love what they did, love what the Raiders did, love what the Giants did, I love what the Bears did. I love what the Saints did. The Saints getting Tyson where they got him. I think Tyson is going to be the best wide receiver in this draft class. I was shocked that Tate went to Tennessee. I thought they were going to be all in on Tyson. I will say this about the Saints as well. Love that they did. I will say the Saints will be a playoff contender this upcoming season. I think Kellen Moore's legit. I think they have the quarterback. They brought in Etienne Jr. from the offseason from Jacksonville. They still have Olave. Now they have Tyson. Look out. I think the Saints rebuild isn't going to last that much longer. I liked what the Saints did during the draft. It was a really, really solid draft for them. They are building something really decent over there with Kellen Moore. I mean, look, the Eagles missed Kellen Moore. They missed him like crazy last season. Now he has his own team, and New Orleans is starting to get better. But yeah, man, that's all I really have to say. I did way more in the last video, and I apologize once again. It's just hard to be like, let's just do it again, record. It's hard, man. But yeah, let's transition. NBA playoffs. Let's talk about it. There's really not a lot that I'm surprised about. There are. Let's be honest. We knew OKC was going to stomp Phoenix. I think Portland was cooked the moment they choked that 17-point lead after halftime against San Antonio on Sunday. Boston's taking care of business, which I expected. I'm not shocked by the Hawks and Knicks being tied. I said on the last podcast that I don't think Mike Brown's that much of an improvement from Thibodeau, and Quinn Snyder might legitimately just be a better coach than Mike Brown, and they have the guys to play. And I'm not shocked by that series being close. I said they would be. Cavs, Toronto. I think Cavs, dude. Like I said, it's hard to trust a James Harden-led playoff team. It just is, and now it's showing. Toronto, they got some pieces over there, man. Yeah, they lost those first two games, and people were already ready to just be done with the Raptors and be done with Brandon Ingram. They showed up to Toronto and took care of business. That series being tight, I'm not shocked because of James Harden. I am shocked by the Magic. Very shocked by the Magic. I didn't have the Magic even making the playoffs. I thought they were going to lose in the play-in. Not only did they made it to the playoffs, but they're kind of showing what I was talking about when it came to the Pistons' inexperience. JB Biggerstaff's a really good regular season coach. Come playoff time, you still got a lot of guys that haven't really been there. And I said it on the last pod that I still think the Pistons are a player away from being serious title contenders. That's just my opinion. That's what I believe. In the West, I am shocked by Denver, Minnesota. I really thought Minnesota had a very mediocre season, and that they might even possibly fire Chris Finch if they got blown out by Denver. But Denver has looked bad, man. They have looked really bad. Obviously, the injuries to Aaron Gordon. I almost called him Eric Gordon. That would have been so bad. Aaron Gordon, those injuries, that has affected the team. Christian Brown is just, they should have never paid him. That was a massive mistake by that front office to play Christian Brown what they paid him. He's just not that guy. And the Cam Johnson for Michael Porter Jr. trade has just not worked out. It simply hasn't. I really thought that was going to elevate Denver. I thought Denver had one of the best off seasons of any team in the league, and it just really hasn't come together. Now they're down 3-1. But do I see them coming back? Unfortunately, yes. Not because I don't think Minnesota can get the job done. It's just the injuries, man. It's the freaking injuries. Dante blows out his Achilles, the curse of number 0. Anthony Edwards is going to be out multiple weeks with the bone bruise, I believe was what he was diagnosed with, I believe Sham said yesterday. And that might just be enough for Denver to come back 3-1, but it's not going to be pretty. And if you're San Antonio, you're kind of feeling a little bit better that you beat them, and so you can play them in the second round. You're feeling a little bit better by yourself. The Spurs look fantastic, man. Like, they look like they're ready to roll. The way they looked on Sunday, I could see them absolutely sweeping Denver. I just don't think that Denver team is equipped. And if it is Minnesota, they're going to be so banged up. This is really working out beautifully for San Antonio. It really is. The way things are going right now, the stars are aligning for the Spurs once again. Now, if you would have told me last week that the Lakers would be up 3-1 going into game 5, I wouldn't have believed it. The Lakers have played great. The Lakers have done what I needed them to do. But yesterday was unbelievably embarrassing. And they gave this team a little bit of life. And I fear that Houston has kind of figured out how to defend this team. Now, no team has ever came back from 3-0. If you're the Lakers, you got to take care of business. Now, I know a lot of fans think the Lakers punted that game so they can give more time to Austin and Luka. If that's the case, I highly, 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 highly hate that, because you don't mess with the basketball gods. You don't punt games in the playoffs. You take care of business. That's what separates the champions and the mediocre teams that can never get over that hurdle. I know they're tired. I know they've been very shorthanded. I know they're waiting for Austin Reeves, and I think Austin's going to play on Wednesday. But you got to take care of business. KD is supposedly not playing. That's the word going around right now, that he's not going to play Game 5. He possibly can. We'll see. If I had heard, Shams had reported that if this was a regular season, he would be out 2 to 3 weeks with this ankle injury. It's not even knee injury anymore, it's just his ankle, which I don't even know when he hurt that. It might have been at practice as well. But you got to take care of business. This series is getting feisty. A lot of pushing, a lot of shoving. The referees last night, abysmal. Those referees, you suck. You guys were terrible. The ejection on Aiden, the ejection on Thero, who's playing in his first playoff game. Playoff game. I thought this was the playoffs. Then you wonder why the old heads talk smack about this generation, because this league is just soft. It's not like Aiden intentionally elbowed Sengun, like Ron Artest elbowing James Harden. That was not even the case at all. Clearly, there was slippage. Yeah, it was a flagrant. You want to call it a flagrant? Under the rule of law, it is 100% a flagrant foul. It should have been free throws in Houston's ball. But to eject Aiden? And then the Thero thing was even worse because the kid didn't even really do anything. Again, NBA, playoffs, what are we doing? It's so frustrating from a fan perspective, and clearly a LeBron perspective, because LeBron was pissed. And shout out to Luka, because Luka already came out and said that he's going to pay for Thero's fine, which is awesome. Great teammate. But again, terrible referees. You can't let the referees dictate the series. Once again, I'm going to say this. Lakers, you got to take care of business. You have their foot on their neck. You have your foot on their neck. End it. You cannot let them win that game and go back to Houston to force a game 7. There is no way. JJ, get the job done. It has to be done. It just has to be. I'd like yesterday, which you guys are watching this on Tuesday, I'm recording this on Wednesday, I'm talking about Sunday. Yesterday was abysmal, embarrassing, foolish. You watched the beginning of that game. Houston looked like they're ready, already had their bags packed, ready to go to Cancun. And the Lakers played with their food. You cannot play with your food in the playoffs. You can't avoid the next round, but you shouldn't even be thinking about the next team until you finish the team that's in front of you. So get your heads out of your ass in LA Wednesday night with or without Austin Reeves. Get the job done. You've been the better team. You've been the smarter team. You've been the tougher team. That needs to all come out on Wednesday night so you don't have to play on Friday. And then you could actually rest the players that are playing while also still resting Austin and Luka and prepare for the next round. But the next round shouldn't be on anybody's mind. It should be taking care of business on Wednesday night with or without Austin Reeves. That should not be the excuse, because I'm already seeing that shit online where people being like, well, he shouldn't have said he could play. He never said he could play. They said he was questionable. They said he was game time decision. Anybody thinking that he was just going to pull a miracle and just play those games would have made a difference. It wouldn't have. First of all, the Lakers were up 3-0 yesterday before they lost. Why risk it? There's no point. You want to risk it Wednesday, fine. But with or without him, you have been the better team, the smarter team, the tougher team. Do not let that one mistake of a game last night dictate the rest of the series. You've been there before. You're pros. Get the job done. That's all I have to say about that, my boys. As always, I know this is a very short episode. I very much apologize again for that. Hopefully this footage is saved. As always, if you like this video, like, subscribe, comment down below. Hey, man, if I said anything incorrectly, correct me. I ain't going to get mad about it. I want to be educated. If there's something I'm saying wrong, let me know in the comments section. Come with respect, but just let me know if I'm said anything wrong. I will very much appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe. I believe this week we'll be also uploading episode 2 of Light, Cheat, and Pod. And I do believe we'll be getting a Resident Evil trailer some point this week, and we will be doing a reaction for that as well. My boys, as always, I will see you guys later on. Hit that notification button so you guys are notified when I do drop a new video. Follow us on all other social medias, Instagram, TikTok. All those links are in the description. If you're watching this on TikTok or anywhere else, same rules apply to you. Follow all the links in the description. I will see you guys later on. Let me know down below, who do you think? Who were the draft winners and losers? What do you think how the NBA playoffs have gone? Would love to know who your finals picks are as well. Let me know in the comment section down below. I will see you guys later on. I will see you guys next week for episode 4. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Too sweet.